your local election headquarters. This is The Insiders with Dave Price.
We will see if that phrase from 30 years ago still holds true. It is the economy, stupid. Democratic strategist James Carville had reminded presidential candidate Bill Clinton to focus on that back then. Well, many polls today show that Democrats might have the edge with voters when it comes to their position on abortion rights. But a longtime University of Iowa professor says economics issues may resonate more, especially with people in the middle. 1984 proved that, he thinks.
In 84, when Ronald Reagan was running for re-election, basically his question was, are you better off now than you were in 1980? Well, of course, in 1980, we were coming off really high inflation, tough times in the late 70s, and Carter's approval numbers were terrible. So Reagan said, did we improve? And the short answer was yes, and he was overwhelmingly reelected. In 1992, Clinton, in his campaign, basically the slogan was, it's the economy, stupid, trying to paint George H.W. Bush as being out of touch and coming off a recession at that time as well. And so that's what makes it difficult for Democrats this time, is because they can't really focus on an issue that really does affect people and really is at the top of their lists. So they have to focus on something else that maybe will help to motivate their base, to make sure that their base, in fact, does come out and vote, and then hopefully, from their perspective, get a few other voters as well, the no-party voters here in Iowa.
Wyoming Republican Harriet Hageman beat Trump critic Liz Cheney in the primary this summer. She also headlined an Iowa Republican candidate event this past week, and she showed that party loyalty is not appreciated like it had been, just appreciated, but rather it is demanded these days.
Certainly, there's always been that idea that you need to support your party for various reasons. And actually, Democrats, by and large, have been a little bit better at that than Republicans. I often think that sometimes as Republicans, and I've heard a few talk about this, that sometimes it's like herding cats. Now, there are ways to herd cats. I have cats. I know you just open that can of tuna and there they are. But on the other hand, it's a matter where you have, and this is what we had during the beginning of the Trump era, where people are saying, well, look, I just, as Republicans, that say, I can't support this person for whatever these reasons are. They didn't think he was conservative enough, they didn't like his personal style, whatever it happened to be. And so you had a number of people like Liz Cheney who became never Trumpers, as the phrase goes. And so by being never Trumpers and supporting people, whether it was Hillary Clinton in the presidential election or some other folks that then rejected Trump, that it then sort of separated the party, and people realized, Republicans, that maybe that wasn't so good, like Democrats had realized before in various ways. And so there's this idea that, especially in a time when we're so highly polarized, and that's certainly unfortunate, that you really do have to stick together if you want to get success. That if you don't have control, in particular, of the House and the Senate, you're not going to get stuff done. And even if you do have control, if you have a divided government, so if the Republicans take control this election cycle, they're still going to have to deal with the Democrat as the president for at least 2 years. And so you need to figure out ways to get things done. And it used to be easier to do than it is now. Maybe at some point we can get past that, but right now it's a matter of, you got to stick with your tribe. And if you don't, then you're going to get pushed out. And that's basically what happened to Liz Cheney.
Well, don't the emergence of all the social media platforms, specific cable TV, opinion shows, don't those almost encourage, if not pressure, politicians to kind of stick with their own here and not venture out, not oppose their own people?
Yeah, I would say that there's certainly a lot to that. You don't see as many shows that will advocate for a middle ground or a compromise or something of that nature. That's not the nature of those mediums. Basically, whether it's something like Twitter, which I follow Twitter, so I see a lot of this stuff there, or as you say, the cable shows or the podcasts or something like that, they get their audience from the people that, by and large, are the ones that agree with them and agree very strongly with them. You'll get other people, middle of the road folks, that will tune in, and people that will maybe hate listen to things, meaning that they're really on the other side and they just want to be angry at whoever it is that's on the podcast or whatever. But by and large, it's, you say, here's our group, here's our tribe, we're together, we can do this kind of a thing. And so that sort of fosters that idea that politicians better stay in line, or else all of a sudden they're going to get criticized by some fairly vocal, fairly active group of supporters.
You mentioned hate listen there. Last week on the show, we had David Yipson, the longtime Des Moines Register political columnist. He was talking about one of the biggest changes he thought he has seen in Iowans now is the level of anger. Do you feel like that is true as well? Are people just more, are they angrier right now?
You know, it varies, and certainly it depends on issues. We've seen an escalation of this, and again, particularly because of the Supreme Court and what's happened there, and the fact that right now it's conservatives that dominate that particular court. I always think about this since I study the courts and I teach judicial classes, is that, well, back in the late 60s, it was a liberal majority on the court. They were issuing lots of liberal decisions, overturning conservative precedents, and that became an issue in the presidential campaign, 1968. Nixon basically ran on that and helped him to go on to victory. And then, of course, got to change the court, bring it back more towards the middle. Well, now it's more towards the conservative side of things. That'll eventually change. But right now, of course, and particularly given the court's decision in Dobbs that overturned Roe versus Wade, that's made people very angry. And it gives Democrats an opportunity to use that as an issue, not just to help their constituents just in general, but also to energize them for the midterms to try to alleviate the usual downturn in turnout that we see in midterm elections.
Next, 2 Iowans on the ballot thinking beyond this November.